Ladies and gentlemen, with an electronic clap or anyhow you are going to indeed welcome our speaker for today, please let us give a resounding clap for our speaker, Dr. Ayo Adeyemi. All right. So at this moment, I am going to hand the floor to our speaker, Dr. Ayo Adeyemi, who is set and he is ready to give us as many as he has prepared for us. So let us listen and ensure we take notes. Thank you once again. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice, great to be with us again this afternoon, and basically to share my thoughts on what I think will be of immense benefit to as many of us that are here this afternoon. Please, I want to believe you can hear me, and if you can't hear me, if you can hear me actually, please drop yes in the chat box. I just want to be sure that I'm not alone, and I'm not working alone, and I'm not doing this for myself alone. All right, so this is a series that I'm committed to this year, and this is the second in the series. The last edition, which was January, we discussed about recruitment, and this particular session should have happened before that, actually, because that's been in my mind since last year, actually. Essentially, when somebody would challenge me on LinkedIn, when I made a post related to this particular topic, and the person wanted to know what are those things that will, help you or aid your applications. I must sincerely confess that I think shortly or even before I did my NYC several years ago, it was one of those things I had to apply for a job. I mean, in those days, I'm not old, so don't think I'm old, but when I say in those days, it's just yesterday, all right. We do a lot of application through Guardian, newspaper. There's not so much of online stuff, even though there are few. But, we had to buy all the papers. So I realized some point, I checked when I saw my library, and I saw a lot of Guardian newspaper, like especially Tuesday Guardian, and then later Thursday Guardian. I joined and bought a lot of that. I can't even tell how many applications I did. But one of the things I discovered is that there have not been any time. I mean, some few people might have been lucky that you have applied through those medium and have been lucky. Maybe one or two invitations, but at the end of the day, it wasn't worth it at the end of the day. But what I've realized more is that there have been some more better way of getting results when you apply for jobs and all of that. So some of the things I'm probably going to share right now, I didn't know them at that time. Even now that I do more of daily activities around this particular discussion, which is recruitment. And some of you will probably, especially those that probably know me, will have asked why the long introduction of my profile, and then some of the company names that I mentioned. Yeah, well, maybe he has decided to do that on his own, but really, maybe few part of it were really deliberate, and that would be to some of the company that were mentioned. These are some of the clients we service, and we've been working with some of them at least like 10 years and what have you. And by the grace of God, we enlist more clients, at least if not monthly, I would say quarterly. And one of the things we have come to realize about this recruitment, job vacancy business is that as much as you need a job, so also we need you. So for us in Lorage, okay, I work with Lorage Consulting. And for us in Lorage, we don't see job applicant as one of those people. We see you as clients. We see you as partner for us, because if you need a job and we have the vacancies and we're able to get you the deal, then we are happy. We can smile to the bank. So much as you are desperate, seeking for a job, so also we are desperate as recruiter, as agency, looking for who the car fits. And this really gives us, sleepless nights. And I must say that it gives us sleepless nights that we have to do this round the clock. Maybe I don't do much of that now. I have team members that handle that. But at the point in my career, I can barely sleep because we needed to close Rome. So I work 24 hours. And I can tell you, the kind of, you even doing that job, you can get migraine and all sorts of things. But at the end of the day, technology really has helped. And we are in technology era, innovations, things are happening. And we've deployed quite a number of technology, and we've continued to deploy, especially when it comes to people applying for vacancy. We deploy technology. Maybe to some extent, you will say, or you will agree that that has reduced maybe unsuspecting application, some unnecessary application, but to a great extent, it is what it is. And in actual fact, it comes with its own challenges. It comes with its own, tough times. Despite the fact that you have, synchronized the system, and then you have optimized your system to the point that technology is now helping. The truth is that it's still what it is. And I will say this to you that in this business, part of what we do, or we do continuously as an organization, is even to have partners, all right, that we even, let's say, outsource a part of our process to. And that do I mean? Because of the challenges and the kind of enormous tax that is involved in shortlisting. Okay, so we have partners and we have asked them to just take the pain of shortlisting and recommend maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 best hand to us, so that we can make our process simpler, faster, and what have you. But I must say to you, even for them too, because it's about turnaround time. It's about how fast you can get this resolved. So for them too, they could only do much and as much as they can. So what that means is that there's no system really that's absolutely proved. The fact is that we keep on working and improving on it. But for us, again, in Lorach, one of the things we believe, like we said, for those that are seeking employment, we don't just see you as other people, just someone else. We see you as client to us. So we are doing this because we feel like when people know better, when you have good information, they also help you to respond or react appropriately. So as part of our own contribution, you might want to call it CSR, I have decided to take this up this year, and I'll be doing this in different dimensions. Like earlier on, I spoke about recruitment and even talk about the business side of it, for as many people that want to also make money from it, or you want to call it your side gig. You could do that. So you could watch my video on YouTube, my YouTube channel, and see that. But today, essentially, is to talk about how best to react or respond to vacancy. And I'm going to try to do as much as I can, all right, to make it very simple, very straightforward, and break down some of the things that we know and that we feel you need to know. And you also need to share with your colleagues and friends that they need to know, so that you can make it a word of difference, all right, when you are applying for a job the next time. And perhaps after this session, maybe the next job you'll be applying for, you're going to get the job, and you can come back and share with me. I'm not going to compete for 10% because I'm not God, but the 15% will be fine. It's not more than God, but God is 10. 10, that 10 can mean anything. But of course, if you take me out for a lunch or dinner, I won't mind. I don't eat too much. Just something light. All right, so when I made a post on LinkedIn some times back, I think last year, a guy challenged me. How do you mean? What else skill do you say someone need to apply for job? Applying for job is applying for job. So what kind of skill are you talking about? And I smiled. And I smiled because I wish if you have some information too, it will help you and it gets you to achieve better results. Because ultimately, what you want is that you want to change your job, you want to get a job, you want to get the right job, you want to get a good job for yourself. And because you want to change career too, you also need to how best to also be able to get the best out of your career, get the best of job, or be able to apply. At least even if you're not going to get the job, I mean, at the end of the day, but you know that you are even invited. You know, I can't ever forget my experience with Nestle Nigeria, I mean, Nestle PLC, when I had to do about 8 levels interview. And I'm telling you, each of the interview levels, I received DHL dispatching my invitation letter for the next one, for the next one, for the next one. Somebody will ask me then, did I get the job? I got the job. Did I resume? Now, that is a story for another day. I will share that with you sometime. But the truth is, yes, I applied for the job. I got invited, and then made progress from one level to one level up to about 8 sets of interviews. But to even get the first invite is what we are talking about. And these days for us, especially, like I said, most of our systems are optimized. You know, technology is helping us. So we really don't even invite you to our office. We do what we have to do. We do basic things, and most of them virtually. All right. So, and that's one of the things that has happened now. Except when we are almost about the last set or the last 2 sets of interview, and that not likely will be at our client's office. But the first thing is even that, what is essence of your CV, your resume? Okay, so how does it even land you the first invite or be shortlisted, right, for consideration? And that's what we want to look at. So if you look at an average vacancy, okay, we do that. At least let me take for example for what we do. If you look at an average vacancy, you will realize that you get basic information. Let me just say basic information. And what are those basic information? All right. It ranges from the job position, possibly location, and then what we call the job description. And perhaps the qualification also come with it. Now, pardon me, please. I just realized that the Zoom we are using is going to time out. I'm not too sure if this is the right Zoom the team has set up. But if it does time out, because I can see that it's telling me now remaining about 9 minutes, that must have been an error. We have the paid one that shouldn't time out. So I don't know how I'm going to do this, because if we share a fresh link now, what it means that you have to start all over again. So I don't know what we're going to do, but what I think we can do is to just click again and just join. I think you pardon us for this. I'm just saying this. I didn't even know. We have a paid Zoom. So why this is coming up, I think there must have been an error somewhere. So, but let me continue. And when it does time out, please just click again and we just continue with the narrative. Okay, so like I was saying, you see basic information. Basic information as to what does the vacancy speak about? What is actual basic information you get there? You get job position. Most times you get a location, and you get job description and probably what requirement, qualifying requirement. But there are many vacancies out there that doesn't have all of the other details, which I feel are also very important. And that has to do about salary, at least the salary range or idea of the salary, and perhaps the level or grade as to you will be coming on board, and then probably your reporting line to some extent. Occasionally, which also seems to be discriminatory, when you have to get the age, and then you have to get the gender. This sometimes seems to be discriminatory, but when and if we have to do that from our end, especially from Lorach Consulting, we will let you know that it's for balancing. Maybe the client has said they needed to balance the team. They have more female, they needed more male, or because of the tediousness of the nature of the job. Much as we will believe that there shouldn't be discrimination of any sort, which I agree as a professional, but to some other extent too, we also believe that there are some job that could be more energy zapping, that could be more exacting, that could be more demanding, that you may not want to recommend for the female gender. So sometimes, in order to be able not to bother and like one of my friends will say, and we say this way that Mr. Yo, why are you disturbing? Why are you? I didn't just put it again. I forgot it. They said, Mr. Ayo, why are you wasting your time and wasting my time? And I will say, my friend, I'm not wasting your time. So in order not to waste your time and waste my time, so we try to pull that, and that's essentially because we feel that when you have those information, it helps us. and it helps you too. And we don't have to. But okay, I've also seen sometimes, God, I know people who come to tell me, and in terms of when it comes to testimony and other, look, they said the job is for male, but I got it as a female. Yes, it does happen. There are also sometimes some consideration. There are also sometimes possibility. They find you suitable, smart enough to handle it, and then they decide to have 2 people on board instead of 1. Or they decide to, okay, let us see how we can accommodate you. Or maybe you are able to, I mean, your CV, to some extent, be able to prove to them that, look, we'd like to hear from you. But what I want us to note here is that the very first thing I'm saying right now is, what are the information out there? What are the informations that you have seen? Now, most time, I've seen people helping the other person forward their CV, and they say that the field is qualified. Now, so that is just submitting your CV without really applying appropriately. Okay. Now, okay, this is different from when, for instance, you are my colleague or you're my friend, and you feel our company has advertised certain position, and you say, okay, you can recommend someone to me. Okay. Even when you do that, for few people that know me, I will tell you, still let the person apply. And the reason is because, one, for me as a person, it's not my beat, and I don't want to forget. And even when I give CV to my team, sometimes they come back to me to ask questions as to what position. And even when I state the position, they feel like, perhaps the person does not even qualify. So that's, again, are some of the challenges but I always recommend, let the person apply. But I do mention that to my colleague who's in charge. But what I'm saying here is that ensure that you have information. Even if you are desperate as to, I need job, I need a child job, I need marketing job, I need sales job, as much as possible, except the person have a very close relationship with you, that you really have your details and can be able to, determine that you really qualify all this and all of that, or man thing. When you have had to apply, ask from the person if you could have information. Because I will tell you the danger in that, which I've also observed. I've seen people appearing, submitting, people submit CV, and they appear at the interview, and then they don't have enough information about the job that are even advertised. And I've met people like that, and I'll ask you, how did you hear about the vacancy? And said, somebody helped me submit my CV. So, what do you know about the job? I'll ask you, in fact, my own question is, did you read the job description? And I didn't even see it. So that's the beginning of the problem. But that's again for interview, which most likely I'll be talking about interview and all of that and one of my sessions soon. But for today, I'm trying to talk about your response, your reaction, even to vacancy. So I've said that there are basic things that comes with information on vacancy. Now, where you have those information, now you really will not be able to come back. For instance, if Lorach advertised, and we are giving you some information, and if some of those information are not enough in by your own justification, they are not enough or detailed enough, then you can't call me, or maybe you could send a mail to ask for, but you sure know that your likelihood of getting a response is very minimal. To say that, okay, I realize that you didn't state maybe the age bracket or the qualification in the vacancy. So you want to know, which is not totally absolute bad, but of course, yes, I'm not too sure that you will get quick response. And if you don't get quick response, then you now begin to put yourself at the point of, should I just apply, or I should be seeking for more information? So you determine which one you think is best for you. So when you see information about vacancy, about job placement, job advertisement, look at it, look at the basic things. The basic thing is, do you have the job portfolio defined? All right. Do you have information about the sector, the industry, if possible? Of course, you should know, not occasional. Most times, let me not say occasionally too, you do have the company name. That is if they are direct vacancy from the organizations. But if they are through agency or some other time, some organization too do not want to show their identity. So you may not really have the company details in terms of the name of the company. So, but you will thus have the industry, the sector might likely be spread out, and you get that information. Now you have the role. Sometimes too, those are not absolutely defined as to what grade. Is it a managerial level? Is it an entry level? But sometimes those are also not clearly specified. Or is it a junior role? So these are not specified. But you could also determine that. And I will say to you, how do you determine that? You can also determine that when you go through or scan through the JD, because you know that when you're going to have a JD for a very senior level role, the JD will actually be able to point to that direction. And if it's for a junior role or mid-level, that JD will also point to that direction. So essentially, what am I saying then? Once you see vacancy, ensure that you scan through. See, the first thing like we do in the exam is to read. Most of us don't read. You just see vacancy position, HR manager, then you apply. Blah, blah, blah. And you don't read instructions, so it's essential to read instruction. So we'll come back right after now, and then we'll. All right, so the first thing, like I said, is to scrutinize the vacancy itself. Learn to read instructions. I know sometimes we just assume. And I'm saying those, use as some examples, some basic examples. When you see a vacancy for marketing manager, because you've been in marketing or it's one of the positions you are aiming for, you always naturally tell yourself you are qualified, which is good. An average person will come and say to themselves, look, I'm qualified. And you want to believe that the employer has no choice or the agency has no choice but to pick you. It's only because you assume in your own mind, all right, in your own church mind, like we say it, that you strongly believe that you have packaged your CV so well. And sometimes you feel like your experience or your exposure is such that you feel really they don't have any choice, which is true. Of course, you have to be so proud and can be able to brag about your accomplishment and what you have achieved. But one thing I must say, and I want to emphasize here, is the fact that you must read instruction. You must scrutinize that vacancy. When you see marketing manager or you see sales executive or you see HR manager, you need to know what industry. You need to know what level. Because, for instance, all of us call ourselves HR manager. Now, HR manager is also relative. Because why? A small startup of a 10 staffer, you can be an HR of such organization, which is not bad. And let me also say this so that you won't think there's any issue with that. You could work in a small cottage business that is of 10 staff, and you earn more than an organization where you even have 50 staff as an HR manager. It's possible, and it has happened, and it's happening. But what I'm trying to say here is that when you see that position, you won't at that point be able to know what is the organogram of the organization look like, right? So you also may not have enough information as to what extent or the largeness of the organization. But it's a role that you crave for, you desire. And one thing you need to understand is that, so what industry? If you are in a what we call FMCG right now, and this vacancy is coming from a airline, or it's coming from an IT technological environment, or it's even coming from education environment. Yes, someone will say to me, as an HR, you should be able to work at any of this business. And someone will say to me, as a marketing person, you should be able to work in any of this business. Yes. But sometimes when we use the word cognate experience, some of us may not really understand because it is English. And because we don't read and we don't do our due diligence, so we just feel that experience is experience. Cognate experience is different from experience. So you may need to really break it down. And you see, you need to be sincere to yourself, because this session is about you helping us as recruiters to help you. And then we are also saying, thank God, because if you come, for instance, you come to our office and you come drop paper CV to us, you probably will be missing rate. Your paper will be, your CV will be trashed immediately. We don't even deal with that. And I've seen situations where we will call for a position, or we announce an advertised position, and we will receive thousands of CV. And you ask yourself, where are we going to start from? I must say to you, at the point I was almost going to give one of my colleague query, and you asked me why. I said, we have a lot of application. And at the point, okay, let me say this to you. We started using, apart from our website email, which is our official email, we started using Gmail because we realized that we have a lot of dump applications. So I asked them, I can see about 10,000 unopened mails. What is happening? And they said to me that they are as useless as those mails are. I said, no, these are people's applications. They told me, except I want them to waste their time. That's when they have to be opening. Number one, a lot of things are wrong. Because in response to those vacancies, the way we respond is problem. Now, I'm saying to you, you want to qualify yourself. Yes, we agree. But we are in the best place to also qualify you because we have the information that you don't have, number one. But we need certain information from you that will help us and enable us to appropriately qualify you. Recently, we got a guy, a job, an employment in an IT firm, one of our ICT company clients. The guy had applied to us last year, actually, for a different position, and we couldn't get him through for that position. So there was even a higher role that we got him for. And for us, if you come to us, I mean, if you apply to us, obviously there's an application form for anybody that interfaces with you, you will fill. And so in that application form, he had put that position. And then when we got him a different position, which eventually got him, and he got the job on higher, even higher pay and higher grade. And then, of course, what was in the old form was a different position. Now, this is because we realized that even for the position he has applied for, he qualified, but you couldn't get him through. But for the new position, he still qualified. So it was easy for us because what we do, like I said to you, we see you as clients. So what we do is that we will call you occasionally and say, look, we have the vacancy and we have your CV. Are you interested? And will you mind sending us your updated CV? Then we will send to you our job application form where you now give us some more details. So what am I saying in essence is that take time to read those information. Find, I mean, to some extent, do a bit of your findings as to what industry and sector. Now, what that means is that the moment you know the sector or you know the industry, how you will craft your CV and or your resume will be different. So, like I said, if you're an FMCG, and then the vacancy is talking about an ICT or oil and gas, despite the fact that you are a marketing person, you don't have to lie. One of the things you're going to emphasize are your strengths in marketing and how it can be relevant to where you are going or where you are prospecting to go. So what we are going to look for when we say cognitive experience, we want you to be like an experience within the same industry back to back, possibly. But when and if we have to make an option, an alternative option of decision, we will look at your own track record of what you have done on various places you have worked, and then see whether we can still use that as a basis for our judgment. Okay, and let me also say this, because for us too in Lorach, for example, we have clients that are usually specific. I mean, even when we have to engage them, to sometimes say to them, look, this person does not have cognitive experience, excuse me, but he does have experience. Or let me say, he has relative experience that can be worked with. They will tell us, look, we want somebody from this particular, I mean, hands-on and deliberate specific. But what I'm saying to us is that the information we provide can help. Okay? So, in essence, when you are able to determine what sector, what industry, it helps. Secondly, alternatively, again, when you're able to also know what grade, it also helps you to apply appropriately. Okay? And then you can move further from there. And then look at the job description, which is also very important. You know, and I must confess, I mean, even before I started working with Lorach, my own previous employment and applications, one of the things I do, which is, I say I'm stupid, but of course, I needed a job, and the only way I feel you can also give me option or choice or opportunities for me to also do something that I thought was creative, but maybe I was just being displaying my stupidity. Is that when I see job vacancy and you put the job description, I will copy those job description and put it in my CV. Does that make me stupid? Or I will look a way of working around those job description to reflect in my CV, so that you can know that I have what you are looking for. Now, the truth is that I possibly have what you are looking for, but the way I have crafted them in my CV is not showing that I do have it. And I must also say this quickly. We have seen people that send their CV, and by the time we met with them, we realized that they didn't even carry more competence than what is in the CV or in the resume. We saw that, and we felt like, wow. So the problem could even be how to craft your CV. Now, mark you, your CV or your resume is the first thing we are seeing. We have not seen you, and it's not about how you look. It's not about whether you are tall, you are handsome, or you are short, or you are ugly. It's not about that. It's about the information you are provided. So for me, if I have to assess, I mean, if I, for whatever reason, I probably do this because for executive position, I mean, I'm in C-level when I'm about to do recruitment and I'm involved C-level. What I look is, once I don't have to go through all the CV, I look for basic things. And I don't look for your qualification first. I look at the skill set and what you have done. Now, in what you have done, I look for what you have accomplished. You know, your job description is different from your achievement on the job. So somebody will ask me, oh, if you are saying that, if I had to put my job description and my achievement, it means that my CV will be voluminous. Well, there are certain points that your CV can be permitted to be voluminous. And voluminous does not mean 100 pages. Because it's also hard to do about your level, because somebody that just finished 2 years ago and after NYC and having 5 pages of CV, I think you don't know what you are doing, just wasting our time. Because I'm not going to look at all of that. Okay, but even if you have had 10 years experience, post-qualification experience, or on the job experience, there are still smart ways you also can craft your CV that can expose certain information and can help us. Now, that is why I said, when you understand the position, you understand the grade, you understand the industry or sector, it helps you to be able to craft your CV to fit into that application. Let me quickly break the ice right now. Your CV does not fit into all possibly available vacancy. Stop doing that. I told you earlier when I started out after my NYC, I applied for every form of thing that I think is possible. I just want a job. So it's permitted maybe as a fresh graduate to apply for all sorts of things. But as I move up the career ladder, I must be more specific. I must be more deliberate. I must be more clear. So that's why I'm saying this afternoon, so that you don't just push your CV everywhere. You see every vacancy bin, every vacancy bin. See, yes, it may be nothing to you in terms of your data, in terms of your time, but see, by the time I mean, for instance, there's a day we advertise about 10 roles, and you'll be surprised that somebody applied for those 10 roles. And so out of curiosity, I look at that person. I mean, I don't know even what made me to look at, you know, the, what do you call it, the emails that they, and I look at that, and I like, this person applied for all the roles. Is this person a machine or what? How can you fit into all the roles? Because the roles are from management to engineering to, I mean, so how do you fit into all the roles to start with? So I realized that the person is desperate, but your desperation will not get you what you desire. And that's what I want to emphasize here. So it is important you look at the job description. Now, don't ever think that each time we push out job description, we do it because we just want to put something out. No. For us as agency, we have clients that give us specific needs. And 99% of the time, they give us their JD. And when our client does not give us JD, we build one. And when we build one, we send to them to confirm that it defines what they want. Because we don't want to do back and forth. So if it aligns with what they want, and then we send it out, we are deliberate about doing that. We don't just send out JD because we just want to put something out. And I'm fond of something, especially if you go to my status and maybe some of my social media platforms, if Lorach advertise, I will just carve the position and some basic information, and then where to send your CV, I just put it. That I may not sometimes I may not capture the JD. So, but I feel a smart person can extrapolate or interpolate. That's my assumption. All right. But of course, yes, that's not the best practice. But I do that, especially when I know those rules should be clear enough and defined enough. Because for me, as a person, if you tell me my job is marketing manager from what do you call it? Cosmetics, I can define my JD. That's the way I am able to develop myself. Right. So I can define my JD and give it to my superior and say, this is my job description. And they can tell me that I'm like 70% good enough and probably had the remaining missing part. So, but of course, yes, that does not give me enough information. Now, and if you do see me doing that personally, what I will expect of you to now go and look for the remaining one, most likely at Lorach website or Lorach handles. But what I'm saying is that as much as possible, it is your responsibility as an applicant to source for more information, because that will help you to apply appropriately. And also, there's also a point where you don't have to waste your time. You don't have to waste your time in applying because you have seen that some things does not correlate with your own experience or qualification. Don't bother. Because every job is not for you. There are jobs that are meant for you, and I can bet you will get that job if you also position yourself appropriately. So save us the stress of dumping your CV at every site, at every email. Is important. Be more smarter in how you respond to vacancy by understanding what the role is talking about in general. Okay? Now, once you understand that, that will naturally make you to restructure your CV. Now, I'm not talking about how to package CV today. If you ask me a question on it, I'll probably give you some few responses, but maybe I'll do a session on that. But what I'm saying is that this is job vacancy. What are the basic things that are required or are essential that you get the information, then relate those information or interpret those information into your own documentation. And then how then do you apply? Now, if you follow our own way we do our own publication or advertisement, you will realize that we will specify that you use certain email and possibly copy another email and again use the jobs, the job role as subject. The reason is because we use certain email for multiple roles sometimes. So when we are going to do our sorting, it's easy to say marketing manager, FMCG, we sort, and then somebody can work on it. But you see, I've seen a lot of time people are so, and it shows that you are actually in haste, even in applying for the position, because the way you're going to forward your CV. I've seen people receive forward message as application. See, you and I know people like me, or even now, will not open such email. So it will be there. Maybe this is part of the 10,000 email on Google. Or you use somebody else's email address to apply. Now, let me say to you, you might say, of course, because maybe somebody has to help you because of the closeness or the promptness or something. Maybe you have got away with it. You may be lucky, and luck is just luck. But the truth is, it's not the best. All right? Because I'm talking to you as professionals now and having to be able to do it professionally. It's not the best. Okay, so, and if you do it, maybe as junior applicant, new entrant, it's okay. But as you mount up as you improve your career, as you advance. At some levels, you should be able to know that all of those things matters. Your address, your communications, okay? Because when you say apply, and that's another thing, most time for us, you won't see us saying, put your, what do you call it now, cover note. Most time we don't do it. The only time we will do it is if you are doing the bulky recruitment of management trainee, new entrants, we may do that. But for most of our job role advertised by us and most of recruitment or recruiting organization or agency, you really see them saying cover note most time. Now, it does not mean you can't do cover note, but I will say, when you do not see cover note, make your email content the cover note. So apply, attach your CV, then put your cover, whatever cover note, your narrative you want to call it, or your application, whatever, make it in your email. Don't just say, dear hiring manager, please find attach my CV. Okay, I will know that you yourself and plus myself, we are not serious. One, you are not serious by applying. Two, we are not serious by opening your application. So it's okay. But try, because why? Now, this is what you want for your career. So, and some of us, you see, it is just about tit for tat. You want to work in a very good environment, but you don't want to treat your prospective employer with necessary courtesy. All right. And then when you now get on board to job, say, this environment is not what. So how did you get on board too? So regardless of that, anyway, as people, it's expected of us to be professional in our dealings on how we respond to things that are professionally expected from us. So in essence, what I'm saying is that look at how the call for action, which is forward your application to this email using the subject matter. Now, at this point, that you may want like application for the role of HR manager. It's okay, but don't just put application or some funny things, all sorts of things that are there. All right, but once you say subject matter, it's important because, of course, the first level of shortlisting will be sorting. And so when the sorting are done, if we can't meet up, because I've seen situations like that, and when we sort and we can't find you there, those ones are just auto deleted to go into the bin. So you need to be careful. You need to do your own job well, do your own due diligence, so that you can help this prospective recruiter or employer to be able to also make it faster and easier from their end. And let me say this, because some people have confronted us. I didn't even get feedback whether my application was successful. See, you will only get feedback when your application is successful. I told you, I applied for only God know how many Guardian newspaper I bought. So would they be telling me that they received my application? Who even know the security man is from the security post or whatever that they trash it? So for me, don't be over expectant. If you do get feedback, you get feedback. Somebody might say, oh, but it should be a professional approach or process. Yes, but it is what it is. We owe you nothing by not getting back to you, because most importantly, we are even sending an advertisement that is only shortlisted candidates. So the first thing you should tell your knowledge is that the moment you didn't hear from them, depending on to what extent you want to exercise your faith, if it's 1 month or 1 year, then believe that it's only shortlisted candidates that have been contacted. But again, for us, of course, we will always have shortlisted batch A, batch B, batch C, batch D. So until we close the position, or perhaps there are more opening along that part. So you may not give up. But I just want to let you know today that you do not get a feedback or response. It's not, don't over expect to believe that the recruiter needs to get back to you. Once you have done your part, if you get feedback, call for an interview or call for more information, good. If you do not get, move on. But what I'm trying to emphasize today really is that your response, your approach to all of those vacancies matters. Some of us have missed it because of the way we applied. Some of us have not gotten the best of the best package because of the way we apply. So what have I emphasized? get information, go through the information. Assumption is the lowest level of information. Don't assume. What the employer or the prospective employer or a recruiter has not sent out, perhaps is not as important at that point in time. So don't assume. Work with the information you have. If you can get more information, if it's possible, try. But if not, leave it. Now, let me say this to you. Where you are able to even get the name of the company, all right, then you can still do some further research about the company so that you know, because sometimes the position are new positions. Some other time they are replacement. Okay, so some people may want to know whether it's a new position or replacement. Don't worry, you don't need to bother yourself about that at this point. You are still trying to apply, so don't worry yourself. Whether it's new, whether it's replacement, your own is that God, please answer my prayer. Give me this job. That's your own prayer at that point. So you just do what is required of you. And one of the things that is now important is your CV, and I'll stop on that. Now you have gotten all the necessary information about that vacancy. My emphasis is about the vacancy. Now, your response, your reaction to the vacancy is the next, which is how to do with your information that you provided, and start with your CV. Now, how best should I write or capture my CV is for another day. But what are the very relevant informations that are essential? It's not your age, it's not your tribe, it's not your indigenous or village people, it's what you have done. What have been your contribution either on your current employment or your past employment? And then what are the competencies you have that you think can hand you the job? All right, those are things that are very important to us. Your qualification also will be there. But you see, most times these days, if you will agree with me that you just see that vacancy don't even, the emphasis, especially on some defined and peculiar roles, that you will see that they will tell you must be a graduate of so. There's a lot of flexibility. Most of you right now in your role is not based on what you study in school. Is it about the zoology you study? Or is it about the geology you study? No, things have changed. A lot of HR people are medical doctor. A lot of finance people right now are medical doctor. A lot of engineering people are people that are in management. So that does not really, to a great extent, in terms of if you have to use percentage, is not totally the challenge. The emphasis are based on your experience. And I've said to you, once you have a cognitive experience, they mean cognitive experience. Okay? And let me say this to you, why some of those challenges are also there is that most organizations don't want to start training. Because why? Their operation is continuous. And the flow, they just want somebody to come on board with a little onboarding process, and then you just go get on the job. So there's too also some level of impatience from the angle of the employer. And that is why you must know what that role speaks to, or what that vacancy speaks to. If it's a new role, of course, there could be some level of patience on part of the employer or prospective employer. But if it's an existing role, you should just know that they want to fill all they need. They have some quick need to expand. All right. So you need to be able to present your CV, yourself. Let me say yourself, not really, it's not about CV. Your CV is who you are. So present yourself in the best way possible that will help prospective employer to know that this candidate should be given the benefit of doubt. All right. And so once you're able to know the salient things, because when you see the job description and you go through it, of course, let me say this, it's not sometimes, not that it's not possible. Sometimes you may not have 100% competence based on the JD. Right? That does not disqualify you really. Okay? You can still apply. But you must be able to define or explain in your own CV how close the expected skill or you are to the expected competence. You should be able to define it. You know, one of the things I've observed or I've also realized is that sometimes we are unable to define our competence very well, and it really don't allow us to get the best. Okay, so these are things for another day. How to be able, because sometimes it's about the English on how you're able to define your competence in your CV. Everything is here about English. So, but if there are technical definition you need to give to it, yes, so how best you need to place it. Now, I've said to you today, if you compartmentalize your CV, okay, they will say your bio data, okay, good, but just basic things. Your name, your email, your address are important. Please and please, which is another thing I want to say to you, double check your email. A lot of people have lost a great opportunity because we sent invites to the email and it bounced back. If it bounced back, there's nothing we can do. Secondly, a lot of people have lost opportunity because the phone numbers are either of your parents or of your cousin, and your cousin do not know everywhere you apply. More so, your cousin is not your customer service person that will be receiving calls on your behalf. You know, growing up, and I'll share this with you, I had to attend an interview and borrow my cousin jacket, suit, because I want to appear, all right, good and well packaged. Some of those periods, sometimes when I see some of those pictures these days, I laugh because some of those suits are like parachute on me. They're as big as something else. But again, it is what it is. But that's not even the discussion of the day. But where I'm going is that when you use people's phone number, that's a big challenge. Because I don't know how many people you will inform that they may likely call you on my phone, and their own availability at the point they will call them is another thing. But what I will say is that no matter how terrible it is, your situation, especially for those that are new applicants, get what you people refer to as palasa, those cheap phones. All you need to just receive call right now. So get something. In our days, especially when I was in school, there's no mobile phone. I'm not old again, but mobile phone just arrived yesterday, So it's not as if some of us are old. But it just applied, it arrived yesterday. But what I'm saying is that even then, especially when I have applied, I know we have all those nice telephones. So I will go and sit beside the phone at home, knowing that they may call me. So you will not see me getting far from, no matter where I go, except that they send me on errand. If I'm at home, I will be close to the phone because any call can get in those days. So right now, your phone is an instrument to fulfill your destiny. It's not what most of you probably think. So if you are in between job, you are expectant of a new vacancy opportunity, then make sure that the phone number you put on your CV are accessible. It's very important. Then check your name. See, sometimes, I don't know, maybe because we feel we are too busy, or part of the lackadaisical attitude that also affect and impact our progress is not to check our name. And then when you get to interview and we ask you and you say that somebody help you, is the typist, is the computer center. Why? It's your document. This document is you. It's the definition and explanation of who you are. Okay? So why then should you not be concerned and be deliberate about the information that are captured on it? Okay, so that is very, so I'm just saying that the first part, which we probably say your bio data. Now, whether you are male or female or not female or both, really, at some point, is not important to us. I will not look at those. So these are basic things that you need to, all right, to check. Okay, so then the next one, somebody will now ask me. Now, I'm not giving you how to position your CV. I'm just saying the information that if they are compartmentalized now. I would rather go for you exhibiting some of the competencies you possess. Okay, you can share with us in your CV some of the competencies. I mean, when I say competencies, a bit technical competencies. Okay, somebody will put there, I am Microsoft compliance or knowledgeable or savvy. Yeah, it's a skill. Okay, especially if relative to the job vacancy, it's expected that you should have much more competence, okay? And you are saying to us that you are Microsoft savvy. I mean, for us is too low. All right. So you not get what I'm saying? There are some things that are more technically sound when we see it in your resume that speaks more to your person than some other things we share. And like, you know, some things are more technical, and especially when it is relative to the vacancy. So now what I'm saying in the sense that you should understand by now that your CV cannot fit into all possible vacancies. So if I'm going to send my CV for a role of a CEO, there's a way and a CEO in fintech, for example, there's a way I have to craft it. Now, if I'm going to send my CV from a position of a CEO in commercial banking, there's a way I'll script it. So your CV must be specific based on vacancy. So somebody will ask me, so it doesn't mean I have to, if I want to apply for 100 positions, yes, your CV has to speak the language of those 100 positions. It's very important. Okay, so I will drop the ball here. And so when we come back, I will just go to question and answer. All right, and then we'll take it off from there. So I want to believe that so far we'll be able to make sense. I've started by saying understanding the job vacancies itself, look at what are sector, basic information that come with this sector, and even salary. And let me quickly say this even on salary. Okay, if the salary advertised, the maximum salary supposedly advertised, your present salary is above that. Somebody will ask me, should I still apply? Yes, you can still apply. But you should also know that if you are not considered, your salary might be part of the reasons why. Because, for instance, once you apply and we shortlist you, even if you apply, we will still ask you before we go ahead with some of the interview levels to give us information about some of those things, especially your salary. If we feel it's above the budget, we sometimes still go ahead with the interview with you. Okay, we want to see why your expectation is far, far above or triple. We want to see that. And I must say this to you, we have sensed that situation that the salary of the person is above the budget advertised, even at the level of interview, and the person still got the job, and the company has to make extraordinary arrangements. Okay, so it won't be like my case, one of those interviews that I attended, and then I said to them, I want to collect a certain amount of money, and they said to me, that's the salary of their MD. I said, well, I'm not saying I'm competing with your MD, but I just feel, based on what you want to contribute, if you pay me this, I think I probably will deliver. So you guys go and look at it. And they said they will get back to me. Well, maybe they'll get back to me tomorrow. But somebody said, I lost out of the job. I didn't lose out of the job. I was deliberate because you have told me some things I'm going to be doing. And I've also talked about it that if I have to do this, then I probably need to deploy some of this intelligence competency. And if that's the case, then it means that I have to also earn so much more. So when we come back, then we'll look at, we'll engage in question and answer. So we'll take on that. I see that one or two people have put their question. We'll look at your question when we come back. All right. So thank you. And okay, so we can have questions if you have questions. I guess other people will join us. The signing was a really messed up, so I guess it's affecting few people too. So does anybody have any question here? You can post your question in the chat room, or you just ask, you unmute your mic. I believe you can unmute your mic and then ask your question. You can ask your question, please. So from Abiola, he said, how do I script my CV to the role indicated? Well, once you see any role that you think you are interested in, then is to ensure that your CV, all right, is defined along that path. This essentially is from because your qualification in terms of your degree, all of those ones will not change. Perhaps your affiliations, your professional qualification will still not change. But what is important is your competencies and accomplishment, okay? And then your job, your previous or current job descriptions. Now, do I mean? You know, if you are applying for, if we are looking for a sales manager, possibility is that we won't be looking for someone that is a sales manager on current role. We'll be looking for someone that is probably, it depends on industry too, okay? We might be looking for someone that is a senior sales officer or senior sales executive or regional manager or area sales manager, all right? So what that means then is that because we believe that if you are a sales manager right now, you wouldn't want to come again to become a sales manager because you want to change status. But again, mark you, if the industry you are or the company you are working with is perhaps a smaller in terms of capacity to the prospective employer, then even if you are a sales manager, for instance, now, if you are a sales manager in, let me look at a very close example of an organization. Okay, maybe I don't want to mention company, but let me say an MSME company. Okay, if you are a sales manager right now there, and then Guinness is saying, oh, I've mentioned company, but it's okay. And Guinness is saying they want a sales manager. Okay, so you and I know that a sales manager in the MSME will generally not be the same way in a multinational. So even if the same nomenclature in terms of designation, you know that the capacity, even the salary and responsibility will be bigger in a multinational. So then at that point, you need to define your CV to spell out what you have achieved as a sales manager where you are now. Okay, so what I'm saying is that you're scripting your CV to meet up with a vacancy is to, you don't have to lie. Let me say this, because some of you might feel like this is an opportunity to lie. If you lie, at the end of the day, when you get, if you even are invited, if you are lucky to be invited and you get to interview, will you be able to defend some of the things that will come to your way? So you don't have any reasons to lie. What we are saying is that to be able to define what you have done and you are doing very well, to state what your reason why you think you are qualified for the role, if you get me very well. So that's what we are saying. So, and that's how you can script. So the scripting of your CV starts from the explanation or defining your competence, your job description, all right, and your achievement. Those three things mark it. Competence. And at competence, you can read English. What's the meaning of competence? It is what it is. Now, competence relative or relative to what you have done or what you can do or the skills you possess. So because part of you can put competence and skills or like any English you want to use, but you can exhibit your competence. All right. Then next one will be your past or current jobs. And then for each of the jobs, for instance, if you say, I'm a marketing director where I'm working right now, and I'm applying for a position of a director of marketing in another organization. So I must be able to exhibit, okay, this is my current organization as marketing director, these are the things I do. So from what I do, these are things I've accomplished. It must come together. So you can say my responsibility, my accomplishment. You can write it like that. You can put your responsibility and then list the item under it. And then you can list your achievement and list the items under it. It's good as that. Because what that shows is that These are things that is expected of you, or you are supposed to be doing, or you are doing, and these are things you have accomplished. So, for instance, I can say I'll be able to move our organization from 1 billion naira revenue turnover to 10 billion naira within the space of 3 years since I joined them. You know, my job is to raise revenue as my responsibility as a marketing director. Now, when I came on board, the company was making 1 billion naira. Now, right now, my involvement at leading the team, I'll be able to achieve 10 billion naira. So somebody will look at that and say, wow. So because we want to know what you have contributed, because that's what's going to hand you the job, maybe ultimately. So it's not about the fact that you are willing. Hey, I know somebody will ask me a question eventually that, okay, now I'm talking about the total experience. Those are those that don't have experience. If you don't have experience, you don't have it. And that speaks to the kind of job you should apply for. I've seen people that are not experienced, which somebody mean perhaps you are not qualified, but you want to exercise your faith, which is true. But also be able to measure or be okay, let me say, be realistic to what extent you can exercise your faith. You want to be a head of marketing of an organization when you have not even started your career in marketing. So if the company take the risk of giving you the job, you and I know what's going to happen. And you want to tell you, one of the things that's going to happen is that you want to learn on the job. Let me give you my examples. I was in FMCG at a point in the customer service sales. I mean, not customer service like that, in sales, but of course, doing customer service manager, okay. Yeah, similarly, want to say conglomerate or multinational company. And then I got a job opportunity for head of client service. So, which is still me, you know, we use so many the nomenclature, which maybe sometimes I will do something on the nomenclature to help some of us. Well, some of you, when you hear business development, and you have said somebody I don't like marketing, and you end up picking that job of business development, and I will ask you, what is your job? You say, I'm a business development, and I will smile. You are doing marketing, but we'll come to that later on. That's not now. So, and I was going to be engaged, all right, as a head of department, as a client service, okay, in a finance or capital market, actually. And I'm coming from FMCG. Now, somebody will say, how do I qualify? Of course, I have to explain what I do here. I relate with clients, I manage clients, and I manage my colleagues, I mean, so staffs that report to me. And now here I'm going from FMCG to financial sector. So what I can write down is my competence, not my experience in financial sector, but my competence on what I'm doing now. And the company feel that, okay, I could deliver, and they brought me on the job. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to deploy is still my competence. Then I will speed up my knowledge. Get it? My competence is what I'm going to leverage on, but I will speed up my knowledge to corroborate my competence on the job. So my knowledge will not be the knowledge of the industry, because the employer will not wait for me and say that, look, we know you are not in the financial sector, so we'll give you some time. Nobody will give you any time. They want you to, from day one, deliver. So what I do was to enroll for some trainings, read up, because I have staff to also lead. And my staff too want to wait to see whether this guy they brought to come and head the department will be a superman or will mess us up. So at that point, I'm set up. I wanted the progress. I wanted the change of career or the change of job. I got it, but I'm supposed to deliver. I can't give excuses. But in this case of my application, what is going to be emphasized on my CV is still my competence. I'm not going to say to you that, look, because my father used to send me to bank, so I have financial knowledge, I'll be deceiving myself. Or because I know my mom buys stock, buys shares, so I have the knowledge of capital market, I'll be lying. But what are my competences? The fact is that I can sell the product to a dead man. I can sell you shit, you will have finished paying for the shit before you know it's shit. These are the competences I have. But in terms of financial knowledge or financial sector knowledge, I don't have it. But if the client feels I'm good enough, then they work with me. So let's go to the next question, please. I hope I'll be able to answer that. We are wrapping up in 20 minutes, so please, next question. And you can watch the recorded version later on my YouTube. I think by tomorrow it should be there and the latest. Thank you, Biola. So any other question, please? Any question on how best you think you need to apply, just say your question. I will attempt to answer it. And if I don't know you will answer it yourself. I don't deceive myself. All right, so can we have it more? Any other question, please, quickly? You can unmute your mic and speak. And if you feel you want to add to contribution, you want to contribute to the discussion, why not? You can. Just please unmute your mic. You can contribute to the questions, please.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much for the insights that you shared this afternoon.
Yeah.
Please, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so my question is on salary expectations.
Okay.
Because I know you spoke about the reverse of my question. That probably if you earn higher and is not up to what the organization is offering. Okay, so for instance, in a situation whereby there's an advert of salary for 18 million and you earn like a 10 million, but you fit, okay, so you are in the financial industry, the competence they are looking for and everything, you fit that role. They were even looking for probably a 10 years experience and you have like a 14 years experience. And this organization you are going to is an all 17 organization, like a small stream. Okay, so what should your salary expectation be? Because you've seen a job placement of 18 million. And when the recruiter called you, you were thinking, okay, don't let me say 18 million because I'm earning 10. So you are now saying probably a 15 million. Is that okay? Because another thing is, okay, so this example I'm giving is something that happened to me. Okay, so I finished the interview and all of that. Everything was fine. I was qualified and all of that. They said, expect your offer letter next day. And all of a sudden, a friend of mine actually got the job. And when we got talking, she was like, because she wanted to leave her place of employment, she just asked for a parallel pay of 12 million. And because of the difference in expectation, they gave her the job. So my question is it okay was the expectation too high? That's one. Then secondly, is it okay for recruiters to like, you are capable for a role, so why should recruiters feel you are not qualified for that role because of the amount?
Okay, thank you, KK. So this is what I will say. First, once you see the budget for any role, like I said earlier, don't give up. Doesn't mean that it's still impossible. Most times we try to put those defined salary or budget because we also want to minimize the the timing or manage the timing effectively so that we won't have to go back and forth. But it doesn't mean that if the clients see an exceptional person, they might not be willing to go a bit above or more, like I did explain earlier. Now, in the case of where your expectation is like 100% of your current package, as a child, and this is still ongoing debate, then why should your prospective employer ask for your pay slip? If they had advertised a role, they obviously have a budget and they know what they want to pay. So why should they be asking for your payroll, your pay slip? Now, the reason is because some of them feel like you have said, if you are on 10 million naira, for instance, and you are asking for 18 million naira, they feel that it's too high. That's their belief, their assumption. So they feel a markup should at least be reasonable between 25% or so, or 50. at the worst case scenario. But when it's like almost like 100 or 75, they feel like it's too high. But I just mentioned something when I was closing my session that look, if you are in MSME and you are going to multinational or going to conglomerate, of course the ball game will be different. So also the pay package will be different. So what that means is that you're obviously going to earn more, and if they feel they can see exceptional competence in you, they might not mind going down all the way. But you should know, like I said earlier, we see our candidates as clients. So on our own part from Lorage, what do we do? Because we see you as a client, we do what we call some advisory role. It's not known to our clients, and it doesn't have to be known to them. And we are not violating any rule. One thing we do is to say, okay, realistically, you are 10 million and you want 18 million. But we may likely advise, if you can get a 15 million, we think you can still go ahead. But I will say to you, if you are in MSME and you are on 10 million and you are coming to the multinational, for instance, and they are willing to pay 12 million, sometimes I will tell you to go for it. And you say, but it's too small, the gap is not much. I say, yes. But you must know that the packages that will come with it obviously will be different. You and I will know that. So there are a lot of yardsticks that comes with it. The career ladder will be different. The opportunity will be different. Of course, yes, the tax may also be more. But one of the things that happens is, if I do career counseling and I go in that direction, is what I will say to you is that if all your life you have always been working in MSME or SME, you need an opportunity to work in a multinational or conglomerate to boost your own CV, let's just say CV, or your credibility. Because the moment you step into that water, what means that your bargaining power will be more stronger. And then you can be able to have career transition or shift or progression in more swifter and faster because of that. So sometimes you have to also sacrifice something. Let me say this thing for you. So your friend now, it's your friend, good enough, it's your friend. The possibility is that if you and I are going to change the job now, she may likely have some advantage. It depends on the firm. Anyway, it depends on the company where she is. If you feel the way she's working now, which you also are paying to work, is more better in terms of say package or environment, or in terms of business than where she was or where you are. So that will give her some leverage. Okay, like I once advised my protege to do that. Okay.
It's real, because if the role is for an head of HR role, and yeah, the one that's going to put a structure in place for the organization, so they don't have any HR structure.
Okay, so what that means is that, number one, in terms of your deploying your own competencies and test running your own knowledge and everything you have acquired, you have a good platform to do that, because you're going to set it up. Sometimes we have a lot of competency and have a lot of skill that we have not been able to even test run, because our current environment does not provide for it. Your current environment is not a new system that you want to set up. You can only improve on the system. So when you have such that may account for you, because you also need to say that, look, I'm the one that set up the system, which might likely account for you in your subsequent job search. Again, if you feel in terms of proximity, maybe to your house or to whatever, and you also feel in terms of the workload, and then you think about your health implication, because there are a lot of things we have to consider. It's not only about financial compensation. That's sometimes some of us don't also look at. Financial compensation, fantastic, but it's not only about that. There are other things you need to consider. Now, if your environment where you are working to is highly hostile, a very volatile environment, and you feel that you need to leave this job as soon as possible, you might have to trade. I've seen people who say that, look, I don't mind taking a lesser pay just to get out of this system. And then they said they can build up from there. And one thing I said to you is that if you change, okay, I want to move from a multinational to an MSME. Now, for the knowledge, for the experience of that sector, I need it. So, but with time, because of my competence, the company will have no choice because of my performance and contribution, they will have no choice than to also increase my salary. Because what will happen is that I will get to a point on my performance that they will be afraid of losing me. And not because I'm indispensable, but because I'm committed to result and performance. So they will also be afraid, like, I don't want to lose this guy. So they won't mind. Okay? And the bargaining power for me at that level will be stronger, will be more better than where I was coming from or where I am right now. So all of these things, you need to look at them together. But when it gets to a point to convince your prospective employer as to reason why you feel you merit it, then there are a lot of things you also have to put on the table. Because they will ask you, what are you bringing to the table? So you must ensure you have the competence and you have the results and you have the capacity to deliver on what they're also expecting. Now, for us as recruiters, we really won't, like I said to you, maybe for us in Loraj, we really won't discriminate or condemn you that you are not qualified. What we do, and I'll say to you, is that I said to our team, look for the match. If you are going to shortlist 10 CV for a role, I'll say look for the maybe exact match, 5 CV. Then look for 2 above the expectation. Then look for 3 very close to the expectation, not exact. So we give the client that buffet for possible choices. So they are the one that will not determine at the end of the day. And then we always advise for them to also bring on board or to invite those that they feel they are above their budget. And by the time they talk and negotiate, they might have reasons why they have to move their salary up, or they have to necessarily be able to negotiate. Because sometimes, like you said, your expectation is 18 million naira. But there could be some other things that will come in terms of package that may make you to say, okay, you can waive a 3 million naira out of it and say 15 million naira, which you know that some other thing will compensate for it. So we always advise our clients, employer, prospective employer, to also to go that direction. Okay. I don't know if I'm able to answer your 2 questions. Okay, so Bukola, yours, I'll come to you. Let me quickly take this question from Razak. What skills can you recommend for some that want to shift from pharmaceutical to FMCG? To start with, it depends on what you are saying. Pharmaceutical is also like an FMCG. Okay, so it depends on what you are doing and what role you are playing there. But if you are looking at FMCG as manufacturer, pharmaceutical also manufactures. But if you are looking at the more of maybe the core, the one we probably would call the core of the FMCG, all right? It depends on what role you are talking about. But let me guess that you are talking about marketing sales role. So is to look for jobs in that particular area, number one. Is to look for job along that particular area. Then what you do currently is to also be able to seek for such opportunity, probably in your current employment. Okay. However, because I don't really know what particular skill or roles it is you are talking about, maybe I'm unable to specifically be able to answer that. But however, for me, pharmaceutical, I say a bit of FMCG. Okay, but if you are talking about different FMCG, maybe you may want to be able to clarify that, and I'll probably be able to give you a specific answer to that. But like I said, the first thing you need to do is to apply for, look for opportunity within the very sector area you want to go. So for Ajayi, yes. Again, if salary, okay, let me, for Ajayi, Kike, sorry, let me also say this. I have a candidate that the company was willing to pay as much as, for instance, let me say 500,000, and the candidate mentioned 350 to the clients. And so when he came back, he now said to us that he realized that they can only go as far as 500. That he hopes they will be able to pay him the 500 and not the 350 as he has mentioned. So now this is it. If the prospective client, okay, you know, even overseas where it is seriously regulated in terms of pay, there are still a lot of shortfalls and a lot of gains too. So any prospective employer that sees that your competence match what they want, but you have asked for lower salary, the likelihood of them paying you the actual salary is very it's very small. But what they will usually do is to give you the job and see that you deliver. If you deliver, it will be difficult for them to quickly increase your salary because they don't want to lose you. The moment you come on board and they say you are potential or you have potential and you are delivering, they won't want to lose you again because they know the industry rate and they know that the moment you are here and you are performing, it won't be too difficult for you to get another job. So they will be willing to also to also do you better. So if you are not getting the maximum, look at other yardsticks to compensate yourself. All right, and then you'll be fine. Okay. Okay. So all right. So we have just 5 minutes more. Olubukola, quickly ask your question, please.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. I joined a couple of minutes ago, so I believe I've missed a lot of presentation by you. So I'm in the office, and my colleague asked me, he's trying to transition from HR to company secretaryship. So he has the skills, he has the knowledge, and he thinks he has the competence, but he's lacking in experience in company secretaryship. So he got a job advert he applied for, and he'll be going for the job adverts on Monday next week. So he's asking me to ask you, what can he use as a selling point that can make him get a job? I know he has very good knowledge in company secretaryship, but no experience, and the job requires 3 years working experience. That is his own question. On my own side, I have a request, actually, too. I don't know if you're available for mentorship. That is for me. And I will appreciate if you can put the presentations on YouTube and let us have the link so that we can always go to your personal page on LinkedIn. I mean, I'm sorry, on YouTube to enjoy the presentation. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. You are welcome. Of course, yes, my YouTube page is always available. You can always approach that. They will share it on the chat room, my YouTube link. You will have it there. So then for your colleagues that want to transit from HR to company secretary role, if you say he has a qualification, fantastic. Good enough, he has gotten invite for interview, fantastic. So what you need to understand is what are the things expected of a company secretary. You need to get to read up on that. You need to read up on the company. Why does the company need some secretary? Is it a fresh role, an existing role? You should try to see whether I can get some information. And then how does it think it can perform? Because right now, it doesn't have a cognate experience, but it believes, and good enough, he has gotten invite, like I said. So what are the things he's going to bring to the table? He needs to be able to convince and display to them that, look, this is what this role entails. And this is what I'll be able to do to ensure that the operation of the company achieve the maximum expectation by engaging me. So you need to come to terms and be able to display that to them. They need to be able to see that, from his explanation and definition and description or discussions, because he has not done it before. And they will ask you, see, from the background she's coming from is not too far to what some of them will be doing, because there will be policy issues that is an HR drives policy of the company, so also a company secretary. Now, a company secretary now, hey, we're taking me to a different journey now. A company secretary now deals more with the board issues, more of external relationship issues, more regulatory issues than what an HR does. Okay, so these are the things you must be able to define. What are the specific technical expectations, deliverables for that role? So once she can get herself settled down for all of that, I think she should be able to get the role. And you will invite me for a dinner. Now I'll be happy to have a buffet with you to celebrate your new job. So, but the truth is that you can only go to tell them why you are qualified, your competence, and then what you can do. You see, most of us want to go to interview to tell them our competence and what we have, but we can't be able to convince them about what we can deliver. It's always a challenge, right? So I'll drop at that. Yes, mentorship, we do that. I also have a platform, different platform, depending on whether business or career or HR. But we are going to have a career summit in the next few weeks, and it's called Recalibrate Your Career. We are having international speakers, so watch out for that information. So Olaoluwa say, what can you say, sir, about follow-ups on application? How can it be done in a moderate way professionally? See, like I said earlier, I guess you missed that session. You can listen to the tape again or the recorded version, but little you can do, very little. I see people coming to my WhatsApp, and for me as a person, I don't have anything really big except that I'm busy. You will get me more when you chat with me on WhatsApp. But if you give me a call, after a while, you may not be able to, I may not save your number, but I may not be able to call. You get me more. And I've seen people saying that I apply through your firm. Why have you not? Can you please give me feedback and all that? And I'll say, just keep your faith. See, I said, if they get back to you, that means that they are still on the game. If they don't get back to you, it may not have been closed. Well, it's what we call KIV. We keep in view. It's possible it's there. It may be possible that the roles have not been closed, or maybe you do not qualify for the role based on their own assessment. And most times, for us as recruiters, we will forward your CV to the client. So it's not on us again, it's on the client. And if the client don't come back to us, sometimes imagine, our job is so tedious that sometimes we have sleepless nights and we'll shortlist our next candidate, and the client will come to us and say, they put the role on hold. And then we're like, what kind of thing is it? But we have no choice, we have to continue. So don't be too hard on yourself and don't feel frustrated or depressed if they don't come back to you. Just that maybe they have not concluded or they are not seeing you in the picture, but keep your faith and keep on with other ones. So I will leave it at that. And I'll wrap up in the next 3 minutes. So what is the best answer for asking price? See, if you have done your research very well and you are aware of the industry, you can then put yourself within the bracket, the range of industry. If it's an SME, what do you think they should be able to pay? If it's a multinational, so you see, it's neither here nor there, but just be moderate. If you ask too high, they will of course negotiate if they want you. But if they feel that what you have displayed in terms of competence does not merit what you are asking for, they won't bother themselves negotiating. They'll just feel like it's a waste of time. Okay, so, but you will also know, maybe I'll call sometimes later on one of my sessions on the psychological part of your interview. Or maybe when I do next, I'll try, maybe we should next one interview. Maybe I'll try next edition in March. Okay, we won't have in March, we'll have in April because we have a summit in March, which will define some things like this. But in April, I'll do something on interview. So we'll look at the psychological part of interview, and that we'll be able to talk about salary and talk about some other things along that. But basically, your salary, your expectation, if you've done your research about the industry, about the company, about what is payable within the industry scale, you can ask for it. And if they ask you for negotiation, if you can, if you feel your current salary is above what they are paying, then walk away. But if you see any other reason why you feel that you want to move that, because of toxic environment, you want to change role, then you can do that. But there are different yardsticks reasons why you have to move or you want to move. So you are the only one that knows reason why you want to move. But in order not to shoot yourself on the left foot, you can always ask more higher, and then you come down to their level. Maybe that's okay. But of course, at the interview, they will tell you, like if you meet somebody like me and we feel that we are so interested, we tell you, what is your rock bottom expectation? So the salary you think once we cannot pay, we should not call you again. And so whatever answer you give to us, we then know what to do next. So ladies and gentlemen, we can't go beyond this level. I want to say thank you to everyone, and I hope you have enjoyed this session. You can watch the repeats on YouTube, like I said, and or the previous editions too. We'll do this. Next one, you can also talk to your friend. We are doing this in Laura to ensure that we are able to contribute to our quota and support everyone. I must say this as a sign out. There are jobs. The challenge is that we don't have enough competent people to fill in the roles. As I speak to you from my office, my colleagues are having tough time to close roles. not because they don't see people, but because they not be able to find competent people. And what makes you a competent person for whatever role are some of the things we have shared today. So you need to bring yourself up to that level. You need to make yourself privileged and position yourself to attract and get all those job opportunities. There are jobs, and I'm saying there are jobs, but you also can get the best. So I thank you all, and I wish you all the best. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now. So